Welcome back to another video. As you know, my videos are made for my son so that he can hear them if something happens to me later in his life, but also for your sons, for your brothers, for your men, for the women out there too that can hear this, and for the Christians and the Stoics. So, I want to talk about something that I've gotten into. I've definitely talked a lot about my history, but not so much my dieting history. A little bit about the carnivore diet in a much earlier video a couple weeks back, but I want to talk about fasting, and not only intermittent fasting, but like actual fasting. I have done it both. So I came into intermittent fasting after reading about it in a book called Engineering the Alpha 2.0. That book came out like 10 years ago, if not longer. And I think the guy, if I remember his name, is John Romans. And he basically is a fitness guy living in New York. And he actually had a workout and diet plan in his book. But I didn't think his workout plan was all that good, to be totally honest. And I ended up using a 5x5 program, which is where I got the foundation of all my results. But what he did absolutely get me into, which I never stopped doing since I read, is intermittent fasting. And that is a concept of eat, stop, eat, as some might say, or not always being eating. And the easiest way to do this, guys, and try it out, it's not going to kill you. And I'm going to teach you more about bigger fasting in this video. But this is how I want you to try it out. Just don't eat anything after 8 p.m. or before 12 p.m. That's it. So if you are still eating after 8, try not to. 8 p.m. is the cutoff for any calories in the evening, and 12 p.m. is when you can start eating again. So you're actually fasting for a whole 16 hours. A lot of people refer to this as 16-8 fasting or intermittent fasting, and there's a number of ways to do it. Let's start off slow and easy. Let's talk about 16-8. The easiest way to do this, other than what I just told you, because you're going to get hungry. Look, you can drink black coffee, and that's the real way to make this super easy and fun and actually burn a shit ton of weight. If you're still dumping a ton of cream and sugar into your coffee, just stop that. You don't need that. It's really, really bad for you, bad for your teeth, and you're not really burning much fat if you're dousing your body with calories and carbs and fat. But use black coffee. Yes, get used to it. After about a week of black coffee, you will love the taste and you might not go back to regular coffee. Yes, once you go black, you don't go back when it comes to coffee. Ha ha ha. But, oh wow, my kid just literally walked back into his stroller and he says, "Daddy, let's go." I love this little boy. We're talking about intermittent fasting. So, yeah, you literally just don't eat from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. and it's super easy if you have a cup of black coffee in the morning. And yeah, by 11 o'clock or 12, your appetite isn't going to be suppressed anymore from the coffee you had at maybe 6 or 7 or 8, and you start to feel a little rumble. Who cares? It's not going to kill you. It's not going to make you pass out. All you got to do is that one cup of black coffee. Be careful with the coffee, though. It's easy to abuse, and on an empty stomach, you will go crazy and have a very bad come down. So I really just recommend, like one solid cup, whether it be 12, 16, 20 ounce cup of black coffee, your favorite brew. That is how you get into intermittent fasting. Let's just keep this video on the topic of fasting. I certainly could do another one in how to incorporate certain diets into the fasting and kind of blend it into one glorious philosophy on how to eat and what to eat. But we'll do that for another video. This one, I want to tell you that once you do 16-8 and you get used to it, you can actually start pushing this out and going OMAD. OMAD, one meal a day. And this, I remember like last year when I started experimenting with OMAD after doing 16-8 for years and years, like the majority of this last decade we were just in. I started experimenting with OMAD last year and I lost a ton more body fat. than previously. And people were commenting like, wow, dude, like your cheekbones, like your face gains, like you still got muscle, but you're losing weight. Yeah. And I like my 34 waist jeans were starting to get too big for me. It was awesome. And all I did was push the fast out further. And I only ate one really large meal every day at around 3 or 4 or 5. For some reason, I was finding that if I ate my meal too late, I wouldn't sleep super well. So I started experimenting with OMAD. Same thing, right? Like black coffee in the morning, but I pushed my fast out. And something happens to you, guys. I want to tell you about it. Like beyond just the fat burning, when you fast, yeah, your tummy rumbles and you get a little cranky, okay? But that passes. It passes every time. It goes away. Your stomach stops making that hunger feeling, and you just go on about your day. But all of a sudden, you've got more energy. Your senses are heightened. I noticed one thing about fasting is my senses were so heightened. So I would hear but particularly smell things from super far away. Like I could smell the French fries at the McDonald's blocks down the street as opposed to being right near it, how it was before. And it made me think that, well, maybe when humans are not eating, their senses are heightened so that they can go acquire food better. Like your body goes into hunting mode, and I think that actually is real. There might even be some science to back that up, though I'm not going to dig through it. But yeah, the other thing is that when you are not eating, there's a few benefits to fasting, guys, especially if you're a guy. You get a growth hormone and testosterone boost. It's very hard to explain, but you can look it up. When you're not eating, your hormones increase. So it's kind of strange, but you're not going to like lose all your muscle if you stop eating. You might lose a little bit. You might lose a little bit of strength, like that 320 squat might go down to a 250 if you fast for a while and don't lift. I always lift when I fast because I want to keep my muscles engaged and as strong as they can be. And I think that actually lifting periodically helps as opposed to not lifting at all. But you're not going to turn into a girl. You're going to burn fat and a lot less muscle. And you're going to boost your testosterone and your HGH levels that you naturally produce. What else? There's this concept of autophagy or autophagy. I'm not actually sure what the real pronunciation is, but a lot of science is coming out that fasting periodically will prevent certain cancers from forming because your cells, your body does kind of like a dead cell cleanup, almost like a skin exfoliator removes dead skin cells from the first layer of skin when you wash your face with an exfoliator. It's almost like autophagy is your body's exfoliator, and it gets rid of bad cells that could potentially later mutate into a cancer. Now, I've heard it said that, a true autophagy doesn't start for 3 days. So let's talk about actual fasting now. Let's get away from OMAD and 16:8 and talk about actual fasting because I've done that too. My record is actually 4 days, and there are people who have gone way further than that. I'm not super proud of the 4 days necessarily, but just something to be aware of. It's not that hard, and I think I'm not telling you guys who have never done intermittent fasting to just jump into a real fast where you don't eat for a few days. Like, I want you guys to start it slow incrementally. Same way you would do it if you were lifting weights, You don't go from not ever having lifted weights to a 300-pound squat. You're going to hurt yourself. So don't do that with fasting. Start with 16:8, get to OMAD, and then one of these days just say, hey, I'm not going to eat food tonight. And yeah, you're going to go to bed hungry, but you will fall asleep. Maybe you won't sleep as well. Big deal. You're going to get up at 6 hours instead of 8 hours because your body didn't need all that much rest because you didn't feed it. And that's fine. You will wake up with a ton of energy. You might have a little bit of a headache, just drink some water. Speaking of drinking water, you should always be drinking a gallon a day, regardless of your diet and what you may or not be doing with fasting or not fasting. Just always drink a gallon of water a day, but particularly if you're doing any of this. Yeah, I'm giving you dietary advice. Yes, I'm not a dietitian or medically accredited for such, but the people that are full of shit. So, yeah, make sure you're drinking tons of water if you attempt this. But when you come to the realization that you can actually go to bed without having eaten a single calorie that day and wake up the next day and you're still alive and you're still feeling pretty much fine, your whole world will open up in regards to what is possible. It's kind of like cold showers. When you realize that you can take a cold shower, like all of a sudden certain things that seemed like a big deal aren't. And it goes for the same when you fast. When you fast over a day and don't eat anything in that whole day, wake up the next day fasted, like you're going to realize that, 6 meals a day is like this overrated junk they push on us to consume and to keep their industries afloat and to keep people getting cancer and getting sick so they can sell you cancer treatments. Don't even get me started. I'm pretty sure the cure for cancer exists. They just will never give it to you because the industry is way too much of a moneymaker. That chemo industry, that cancer therapy industry. We don't cure diseases anymore. We treat them. Remember that. But that's a topic for a whole different video. But once you really fast for a whole day, then you do 2 days, then you do 3 days, then you do 4 days, you realize it's possible. And man, if you can get past 3 days, then you're for sure in autophagy. You are cleaning out your body. If we all did a 5-day fast every year, every human on earth, maybe the cancer rates would plummet. Maybe the mechanism to preventing cancer is already within us. One thing I want to make sure you do, sorry guys, I'm on the road now, but one thing I want to make sure you do is when it comes to fasting, I don't care about intermittent fasting. If you're going to eat food in a day, you don't need to do this. But if you're planning on not eating food for a period of days, I want you to make sure you are still drinking salt, specifically sodium, and if you can, also potassium and magnesium. Now, I believe magnesium is found in traces in salt naturally, but sodium and potassium, I want you guys to make sure you get that. And the way to do this is to just buy pink Himalayan salt. That's the gold. You can also buy something called no salt, which is a potassium salt replacement. It tastes just like salt, but it's potassium instead of sodium. But these are electrolytes, and your body does need this. You don't need vitamins. Like, you're not going to die and get scurvy if you do this. Trust me, it's not going to happen. But you will actually hurt yourself, and you can actually die if you do not continuously take electrolytes, which is salt and potassium and magnesium. You've heard it said that, when someone is in a period of starvation, like say they got lost on a life raft out to sea for a week, or they were on a desert island or stuck in the desert, something like that, that they have to be slowly reintroduced to food because if they eat too much too fast, they can die. It's not the food that kills them. It's the electrolytes. It's shocking your body with electrolytes after 10 days of not eating can kill you. So if you just continuously take those salts and those potassium and magnesiums during a fast, that will not happen. You can enjoy a 3-pound steak after 3 days of fasting. You won't have a problem. But just remember, if you're going to fast for more than a day, make sure you're still getting your electrolytes. And sure, if you want to take vitamins, go ahead, but do not ingest calories. That is not what fasting is about. But that's it, guys. This is an introduction to fasting for some of you if you don't know about it, and maybe it's a repeat for some of you others who do know about it. But highly recommend it. It changed my life. I used to be kind of a heifer, guys. Before I came to Christ, a long time ago, I was probably pushing 225, 230, and I had not started lifting weights. So that was not muscle, guys. I had a very chubby face. I had to fucking wear 38 waist pants. And I had to constantly buy bigger clothes. It was getting bad. I got turned on to fasting and it stopped. I never ever put that much weight back on, with the exception of once I got to 220 a few years later, but by then I had lifted weights and I looked pretty fucking good, guys. The fat did not return to my face. It went into my thighs, a little bit into my ass, but into my back and chest and my arms, and it looked good, guys, but still thought that was a bit too heavy. So dropped it. Anyway, once you learn fasting and you know that it exists as a mechanism and you become comfortable with it, you can seriously start controlling your body, start controlling the way you look, prevent cancer. It's kind of a spiritual experience. Anyway, try it out sometimes, guys. But remember, electrolytes. Oh, and I'm not a doctor, so if you die, it's not my fault. Peace.